Welcome to the Austin LGBT Chamber of Commerce podcast. I'm Tina Cannon, your host and CEO of the Chamber. On today's pod, we're going to talk about local business news. And in the headlines this week, light rail is happening again in Austin, finally. And then Ready, Set, Legislate. The 89th legislative session is open. What it means for you. And the city is outlining proposed code changes to regulate short-term rentals. We'll be back. Howdy, all. I'm joined, of course, with Amy, Colton, and Fiona.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, y'all.
Oh, it's official. She's Texan.
It only took you 20 years.
I've been fixing to become Texan a long
Oh,
time.
man. Fixing to even like it.
My favorite words.
I grew up on the West Coast when I was, younger, much younger, and we would say finna.
Oh, yeah.
It was, I finna go to the store,
Yeah.
I finna go here, I finna go there. And then when I was driving into Texas to meet a friend of mine, she's like, well, just pull over at a gas station and give me a call. Because this is like pre-cell phony days kind of world. And so I was like, okay, I'll pull over. And she goes, where are you at? And I said, I'm at a finna station. And she grew up with me. And she's
Right.
like, are you finna be at the station? I'm like, no, the station is called finna. Like, I'm at a gas station called
Fina.
Yeah, I finna get some gas.
I love that.
Yes. Well, how's everybody?
Yeah, pretty good.
Brady? Yeah, you should be pretty freaking good.
I know, sorry. What? Start a job 2 weeks before the holidays and then bugger off on a vacation in January. It's kind of like the perfect start, isn't
Well,
it?
it really demonstrated to me your negotiation skills in the interview. Like, you're like I could start, but I already have a vacation plan, so there we go.
But the levels of guilt I was feeling, I
Good.
was raised Catholic, so I did feel really guilty. And I felt...
Oh, the shame.
I did, and then I nearly was going to cancel or tell my friends I couldn't go, but then I felt guilty about letting them down, and then I felt guilty about letting y'all down.
I'm sure you
So,
felt very guilty
I felt really
is
guilty.
joining the team meeting with the pool in your background
I know.
and the beach.
And then I sipped a margarita, or 5.
That's okay. She did
Every hour.
she did like she's supposed to, though. She brought us back booze.
I did. Because
So
I realized, from day one, that chocolate was not the right choice.
Yeah, you're still working on yours. That was a teeny tiny baby sip.
yeah, I've got a tickle in my throat. I'm afraid if I drink it, it'll either
It'll heal all.
It will heal. Maybe so. We'll see. Well, we're glad you're back for many
Glad to be
levels, but also glad you're back for the fun facts with Fiona that we'll do here in a little bit. But let's take a look at some local headlines. So the light rail is finally happening. It is back on the draft plan, technically known as a bunch of noise that happened with the FTA. It was submitted. All the things happened. All the I's got dotted and the T's got crossed. But it was back from the transit plan that was approved by the voters back in 2020. Since then, as you know, if you're a loyal listener, a bunch of curmudgeons got in the way and sued a couple of times, wound this thing up in court, spent a bunch of money that we didn't need to have. But we're good to go. Of course, the curmudgeons will be back. In an email, one of those curmudgeons wrote that he's going to try it again. He's going to, of course, make some more noise this time at the FTA to see if he can't stop the boondoggles, as he calls it. I mean, he's just one of those old guys that's just like, get off my lawn.
Oh, my.
What is a boondoggle?
Oh.
Boondoggle is when you have nothing else to call something.
Oh,
you call it a
okay.
boondoggle, and then people go, oh.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It was my local haunt back home.
It's called a boondoggle?
It was called Boondoggles Pub.
See, that's a better use of the word.
And we looked it up, and I forget. It is like it's like a space that is, it's a structure, a thing, or whatever that takes up space. It's like has no function.
Yeah, as opposed to a rail line that will actually move people.
He thinks that this is basically what he's saying is it has no function and it's useless.
Right.
That is asinine.
I kind of want to do like a Snidely. What were those old cartoons where they would tie somebody to the track and then like quickly run off and then adjust their mustaches and then run back?
We can do
The
this.
little roadrunner.
See,
We can do this. This sounds fun.
They would have a use.
And you know, there's loads of rails in Austin still that are exposed that go nowhere. It'd be the perfect, like over by St. Elmo's, they've got the old rail line that's been like paved over in sections, but they left the rest exposed.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait for this.
You're
all invited.
Austin Transit Partnership is hosting 4 different public meetings this month. You can find out more at their website. Also, our friends over at the Axios ran a story on this, so you can look for the proposed meeting dates. If you have any comments, of course, this rail line has pretty much been decided where it's going to go. It will start downtown-ish, kind of bleeding off the existing line, and it'll run up kind of where most of the student body and younger population is along West Campus, up to about 45th, I think it stops. But they've got some real renderings, so you can see what the proposed line is going to look like, what the experience will look like.
That rendering with the people on the train with downtown in the background, it made me so happy.
You look like the happiest place on earth.
Oh my God.
I need to check this out because I am now curious to what degree of accessibility for people with disabilities, people using mobility devices to get around, are going to have ease of using this.
It will be easy because it has to as part of in order for them to have pulled down federal grants.
Okay.
So about half of the project's paid with FTA dollars, and the other half is paid by the local penny tax that we did here back in 2020.
Yeah. That would be so cool to know. Like, I had a weekend with a friend who who gets around using a mobility device, like a scooter. We did a weekend in Denver to see what it was like to be able to use public transportation. And oh my gosh, we had some challenges.
You know, there's a lot like in the vein with that, with the new developments, housing developments that are going up. And have you seen how like short the driveways are?
No, the ones that perplex me are the ones that are like at a 42-degree angle.
Oh yeah,
coming out the front
where you
door.
like break a sweat trying to walk up 10 feet of your driveway.
Drop your can of soup. You're like, screw it.
So
or you fall backwards and crack your head
all the time. But I also have a friend who like uses a scooter to get around, and you can't park a sedan in these driveways and not block the sidewalk.
Oh,
yeah.
And so when she tries to like
no
go
good.
out, just get some fresh air.
That's no good.
And it's
Because the sidewalk is on the what's that called? The right of way for the city.
it's easement.
It's easement. That's the word I was looking for. Like, it's not your place.
It's
to
not
park.
It's not your property.
Yeah, it's not your property. You can put all the decor and decorations and stuff on the side.
Make it look nice, sure.
But know that the city, county, whoever needs to come through, like they're going to come through and make, clean up whatever pipes
I
they
say
need
start
to.
slapping people with tickets, like just for my friend. And I don't know. It sucks, but yeah, to your point, it'd be interesting to see what we've got
Yeah.
planned.
well, we will be mindful about that. We'll be on it.
The current line that runs right now from downtown out to McCalla is the route I always take, although it goes further than that. Completely mobility accessible. What I don't know is if it has, I don't know from the visibility side. So I know like there's boards that say when you're coming and going, where you're going, how far you have, how many stops.
Mm-hmm.
There's of course wheelchair access for the doors and seating. But I don't know what it does for somebody who's visually impaired. I don't know what that experience would look like. No pun intended. Yeah.
We'll look into it.
Yeah. Because they
We'll
don't
report back.
Because I don't think that they say like stop number 4. Like I don't think there's an audio, like an audible sound coming
Surely
from
there
it.
has to be.
There's got to be dings or something,
Or maybe
right?
it's just really loud when I'm on it going to the soccer matches.
Because
That's what I was
everybody's
trying to think of, too.
Screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, because public transportation should make getting around easier for everyone, especially with accessibility. And I'm here for it. I think this is great.
Yeah, we had a speaker at our luncheon this week. It was from the Austin Transit Partnership and was loads of information for our attendees. So if you're not making yourself available to these chamber luncheons, you're missing out on some really juicy details, or as my curmudgeon friend calls it, boondoggles.
Aylshire, the agitator, he is called. That is like I think he's just embodied it as his identity now.
He just sues the city all the time. The neat thing is he loses the vast majority of the time, so that's good. It just costs us time and money. Boondoggle.
He's like one of those that likes to give both thumbs when he thinks he's really making his point. Like both thumbs.
Yeah, I don't think that's a finger he's using.
Both thumbs.
Speaking of curmudgeons, the Texas legislature opened this week. The 89th session has begun, and they are coming out swinging on school vouchers, immigrations, women's health, gender discrimination. Oh my. It's going to be a session to remember. Expect socially conservative legislation such as reclassifying abortion drugs, also as controlled substances. Who knew? And expanding restrictions on sex education, furthering rules on gender in schools and sports, as the legislature moves a little further to the right following the November elections. Governor Abbott appears to have the votes he needs to pass legislation that provide for the vouchers. He tried this, the last 2 sessions to get vouchers through. I think he thinks he's got the votes nowadays. The budget, there is a surplus yet again. Perhaps they could focus on that this year, perchance. And of course, school funding and border are going to be top subjects. If you live in Austin, you're very familiar with recapture. If you're a property owner, recapture is about 42 or 48% of every cents of every dollar that you pay in school taxes goes back to the state. And then they redistribute that to communities that need it. Right, it's the whole Robin Hood recapture. But the problem is, our schools here in Austin are failing so bad that we now had to run our own bond so that we could subsidize the schools that we have here in town. But it's an unfortunate system, the recapture. I think it had a time and a place, and I think it's over. But if they would focus on the budget surplus, focus on what they need to do with the border, right? I'm a first-generation American. Right? My mother was an immigrant, right? There's a way to get here.
We got an immigrant sitting right here too.
Yeah, we need everybody to be a part of the global economy that is the United States economy.
This should not be hard.
Should not be.
It's very simple math. And it is something that is driven into you, me being a public administration student.
Okay.
And poli-sci has to take this. We all have to take finance. If you're in the poli-sci department, you have to take finance and accounting. It's simple math. And when you see those little parentheses, you got a problem.
Yeah.
You got a real problem.
What do you mean?
Like when you have a deficit.
Oh, okay.
So just allocate things appropriately, right? Am I
on the budget? Yeah.
The budget. The budget is so simple.
Or use the funds for what people want you to use them for. I don't know, our failing electricity grid.
Hey,
right?
how about it? There's a load of people who sit in a planning meeting to go over this.
I mean, buy some foam noodles and wrap some shit up.
Yes. Spend it, please, somewhere.
Yeah, because you just said we've got a surplus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we
what
had a surplus last
what would we
session as
spend
well.
it on? What would we spend it
Yeah,
on?
I'm a huge proponent. Spend money to make money.
Reliability in the grid.
Yeah.
Not only is it for the individual taxpayer and to have reliance at home, but imagine if you've got medical devices that you were relying on for your health and well-being and to survive. Yeah. But also, as companies are looking into Texas, which is one of the greatest economies in the world, right? Especially when we're talking about these big fabrications, whether it be chip manufacturing that is now being reshored, or it's battery production now that's happening out in Bastrop. Access to critical infrastructure, whether it be water or utilities, is enormous in their decision-making, whether or not they choose to be here in Austin or in Texas in general.
Spend it to thrive, I say.
Yeah.
That's how...
You can't go wrong with infrastructure. You just can't go wrong with infrastructure.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how we go next week, won't we? When it gets
we know how it's going to go. It's going to be the rainbow bashing.
All my plants are already inside.
That's great.
They're going to spend
18 degrees, I think, is the... Is it 18 is the low?
So
25,
25, right?
Yeah, 20-something.
Is the high?
Low.
Is the low.
Yeah, which is like -9 or something
I'm
Celsius.
just way down there by the South Pole in Lockhart, though. So
there you go.
Yeah, last I checked, it was 15 to 18.
We've got listeners all over the U.S. and the globe that tune in because we go through and nerd out and look at all the data.
Like my dad,
who are probably listening to us, going, "What a bunch of wankers!"
Yeah, I know. It's real cold, y'all. It's fine.
I did read something really sweet happened in the chamber on the opening, Tex Ledge opening this week. Apparently, Texas Rep. Venton Jones from Dallas popped the question to Gregory Scott Jr. on Tuesday, right before the lawmakers were set to be sworn in.
The gays are unleashed. Here we go.
So cute.
I bet that. I wonder if that had them reeling.
The queer folk are everywhere.
The whole Capitol
gay
turned
agenda.
Gay.
Yeah, it's working.
I mean, my wife and I were married there. It is our wedding venue. We do have a special affinity toward the state capitol.
2015?
The first lesbian couple married in the Capitol.
There you
Yes.
go.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, who else? Who followed you? Who's a close first? Do you know who they are?
The right after us,
Yeah.
there was actually he's a local Austin guy. He's in government relations, and I cannot think of his name. And he's probably listening, and he'll ring me and let me know. But he and his husband were married about
The
2 weeks
lines
after
are
us.
open. Please give us a call.
512-761 LGBT.
Isn't that cute? Did you know that?
Yes,
yeah,
I did.
yeah, it's so cute.
So cute.
It is super cute. I don't know who managed to get that phone number for us years ago, but it is
But
really
well
super
done,
cute.
and
I'm
thank
just going
you.
to give Cece all the credit for doing that.
Oh, heck yeah.
I'm sure she had something to do with that. Well, the city is outlining proposed code changes to regulate short-term rentals. Wow, that's tequila. That tequila hit. All right, some shit's going down with short-term rentals. We'd had this come up years ago. I remember I worked back in City Hall back in the days when short-term rental plans were changed and overhauled. So they're doing another overhaul. The idea is to discuss the different amendments to manage the industry and ultimately collect the hotel occupancy tax from the more than 10,000 short-term rentals believed to be operating in the area. The changes are, there's going to be hearings for this on February 4th, 11th, and 27th, so that if you have a short-term rental or you live next to one, you can make your voices heard. But the idea is that is to allow the short-term rentals to be used in accessory dwelling units, which are now larger in the city and available much due to the home initiative. But ultimately, we want to be able to know who's doing them and make sure that we are collecting the taxes from them and they are abiding by all of the rules that everybody else is. I don't know. I've just split the difference on short-term rentals, like how I feel about them.
Why?
I'm a personal property rights person, right? It's my dirt. It's my dirt. And
I hear that.
You know?
I hear that.
as long as I'm not being obtrusive or too loud or obnoxious, it's my dirt. But we have a short-term rental that's in our neighborhood, and I've heard some horror stories, having been working at City Hall, of houses that are purchased by investors, and they're just party houses.
Just that, yeah.
And so I get that. I get there is a fine line of when it's too far and when it's no longer a neighborhood.
I think there could be a caveat. Like, we have a rule in Lockhart where you're grandfathered in. You can have a rental on your property in an ADU as long as you live in one of the dwellings. If you live there, you should be able to have a short-term rental, I think.
And that's one of the big changes. Now that accessory dwelling units, kind of those grandmother lots, are now more available through the new code changes.
Right.
You will have a primary resident living there, but you could rent out your back house.
What I will say, like Lockhart, Fredericksburg, all these like hot shot towns that are up and coming, we are now faced with a housing crisis.
Right.
And these houses need to be rented long term. And so it sucks when you see all these empty houses and people are having to leave town. They're having to move south. They're moving to Martindale, or they're moving to Gonzales, or they're moving like Luling. Because those towns aren't on the map. I mean, they are, but they're not really on the map yet for destination.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the owner-occupied accessory dwelling unit as an option for the short-term rentals in neighborhoods. I'm not a big fan of I bought a house to use it as a full-time short-term rental.
Short-term rental.
Because that's really just a hotel at that point, and now it becomes a nuisance. And we live by Zilker, so we know that technically, we're not supposed to use any of our condos for short-term rentals in our HOA rules, but people do.
People do.
And as long as nobody's being a dick about it, just live and let live.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting how much they go up with hot tax being added to that. And
and now they're going to ask. So before it was the homeowner that had to collect the tax and remit to the city. Yeah. So now the change is that they are asking organizations like the Airbnb and VRBO to be the ones that are collecting and remitting the hotel occupancy tax.
But why is every cleaning fee like a stinking make-ready fee? Like, no one is moving in there. Why is my cleaning fee $300?
So I will tell you, as somebody who owned a short-term rental, so we had a primary residence and a short-term rental in Wimberley. And the STR that we would rent, when we would have to have housekeeping come, my fee was about $85.
Okay.
And then if you broke shit, ruined shit, I had to replace
that's
shit.
Different.
So we would charge, about kind of a pass through with $20 more. But you were paying about $100 cleaning fee.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Can you not just write it into the contract? If you break something, we're going to charge you for the cost to replace the
you
item.
can, but there's just normal wear and tear. Like I remember we had one renter that made me want to just stop altogether.
Oh God.
They had mixed sangria in this giant like igloo cooler thingy that you see on job sites, and apparently
water
spilled it, like the big ones at Home Depot, the big orange ones.
Yeah.
And apparently spilled it in the house, and
Oh,
they were
boy.
trying to clean it with my white towels.
No.
So my white towels were red and orange. It looked like a murder scene, and Keith Morrison was going to swing around the corner and lean against the post with a leather jacket. It was looking gnarly. I was livid.
I mean, I get it. It's risky. But is the return even worth it?
It was, yeah.
So
then
then that's the trade-off, right?
Yeah.
So, and then those that use a property management company, I'm like, when someone's using a property management company, because when you look at the cost and then when you show up on site and you open the door, you're like, what in the hell? Like, this is not worth what
We did it ourselves, and then we switched to a property management company just because it was nice for us to be able to, every once in a while, something would happen on Airbnb that somehow somebody would double book. And you're like, oh, shit. You know, these guys are in from out of town. And so the first couple of times it happened, I paid out of pocket for them to go find another place. And then after that, I was like, no, we got to get with a property because at least that way they can rehouse them in an available unit somewhere in their inventory.
Yeah.
And they fixed the little onesie-twosie things. It was all right.
Sure.
But like the cleaning fees, honestly, what really needs to happen is they just need to raise the nightly rent so that it covers some of that. And the cleaning fee is more of a nominal, like $25.
Yeah.
Flip fee.
Yeah.
But just raise the price of the nightly room. But it's the same way that airlines are doing, right? $39, but you're paying $85 for your bag.
Yeah.
I just remember the days where Airbnb was like,
A deal?
well, and there was no fuss. Like when you looked at the pictures, it didn't have to be this cutesy cottage getaway. I do love that. But it was really just an alternative to the hotel that was like, oh, we have a place to park our car in a driveway. And there's a patio if you want to use it. And like simple furnishings, no sweat, a little cheaper.
Yeah.
Nothing to break, nothing to worry about. Like nothing
Some
from
of those were pretty sketch though.
nothing from like restoration hardware that's going to cost me $2,000 to replace.
Yeah. Wayfair, you got just what I need.
And all of that. So does Walmart and Target.
My brother and his wife have built a cabin on their property in New Zealand. So if anyone wants a place to stay in New Zealand, just let
Where
me
in New
know.
Zealand?
Waipu on
Okay.
the North Island, a couple of hours north of Auckland, right near the beach. And they are collecting stories of their Airbnb guests. And one of them, there's clearly a couple that's having an affair.
Oh my God. This is great. I love it.
Put those hunter cams. Because I used to have like the wildlife cams on the trees outside. But yeah, I wonder how many of those Airbnbs have creepo owners that have them like little pinhole cameras in the air vents. Yeah.
That is not my brother and his wife version.
Deary me.
There was a documentary on a guy who owned a small, kind of like a Schitt's Creek motel situation.
I love this.
Yeah.
And he actually was a voyeur. And I think that's what's called on Netflix.
Okay.
So he installed cameras in every single room.
No.
And then kept video cassettes, like a warehouse
Ew.
full
That
of
is
video cassettes. 'Cause he was
horrific.
just a voyeur.
Ew.
So now when I check in, I got my little flashlight. I'm looking everywhere. I'm checking. You're going to see me brushing my teeth. I'm going to know about it.
So who is this? Your brother that lives in?
Say that again? My
Your
brother?
Yeah. Lives
yeah.
in New Zealand and he knows he's having the
Yeah.
locals or.
Yeah, so his wife is the one that does the cleaning.
Oh,
and
boy.
so I don't know what cleaning fee they charge, but she said like they have this couple that's come back a few times and they typically leave a mess everywhere.
Jesus.
She just
Leaving
has this
separate
sense
cars.
that- yes, exactly. like she just
I
like
am here. I am here for the drama.
Secret.
I am definitely here for the
Getaway.
drama. I love it so much.
Oh, my goodness. All right, we'll switch over to fun facts with Fiona. Yay. What do you got for us?
Okay, so this time I decided to go with the theme of the text-legged opening and knowing that we're in for God knows how many bills that are not going to get passed, but they just do it for drama or whatever they're doing it for. And so I was focusing on trans kids in sports, serious topic. And in December, the NCAA president, Charlie Baker, testified before Congress. And it was revealed, get this is how the percentage of kids who are trans playing sports in the NCAA Do you want to guess before I say what percentage?
I watched that hearing, so I'll let you all guess. So I watched that hearing. It was good.
1 to 2%.
Okay,
One.
ready? 0.002.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking about out of 510,000 athletes, they know less than
Holy
10
cow.
of them.
That's-
less than 10 are
That's
trans.
just the NCAA?
Yes.
Less
And
than 10.
Less than 10. And also,
So
another-
you could just say barely over 5.
I could roll in so many fun facts. Okay, so trans people have been allowed to play sports in the Olympics since 2004. They've now been changing the rules because, oh my God, people have discovered trans people exist. But if trans people could compete in sports in the Olympics since 2004, the only person that has ever won a medal is Quinn, who's trans non-binary and is on a soccer team. Like no other trans people have ever won medals.
Yeah.
And so it's just absolutely ludicrous and just stoking people's like fear and lack of knowledge of
How
what
many
it means to be
zeros?
trans. 0.002.
Wow.
And all this kerfuffle.
All this kerfuffle, all this noise on the state legislature every year or every session, all the noise at the national level, all the noise on certain secular news programs that shall remain unnamed. Fox, you piece of shit. Like that whole side of it has just, they've made money. It's become a financial complex of fundraising.
Yeah.
Is all it has really become.
Because what percentage, like 96% of the bills don't pass anyway. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah.
Like, because I
We have
remember
like
you saying
8,000
this,
something
Tina.
bills every session
Yeah.
that are filed. And of that, about like 1,000 make it through.
Yeah.
And of that 1,000, like half of them probably end up in court. Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. All a big fuss about nothing.
It's all a big fuss about fear and fundraising off of fear.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
It's hitting the most marginalized.
Yep.
Yes. And speaking of that, you can go to austinlgbtchamber.com/advocacy to read through our legislative agenda.
Yay.
Yes, you can.
Thanks for getting that up there.
We will be at the Pink Dome this session again. If you're interested in advocacy work, never have done it before, we will put you under our wing, our rainbow wing, and teach you what you need to know. Definitely get engaged and involved. Be on the lookout for our emails coming this session as well. What other fun ways can people get engaged and involved in the Chamber?
We have a rainbow ribbon cutting tonight. You all can join us at Voltex Physical Therapy for their grand opening. The grand opening celebration starts at 5, and the ribbon cutting will be promptly at 6 o'clock.
Lovely.
Yay.
There is an RSVP for that event on our website. You can also volunteer or register for our happy hour on January 23rd. This happy hour is sponsored by JustWorks, and we will be at ACL Live's brand new PNC Hall.
Super
Amazing.
fun. I'm ready for that one. Free.
Light
You had me at
bites,
free.
Light bites, free drink,
Yep.
Free.
free.
And a brand new, remodeled. I haven't seen it yet. I'm kind of holding out, even though I can see it from our office window.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of cars lined up there yesterday. I don't know if they're up there today. Yeah, they are. It looks like Toyota's doing some kind of fun thing down there. So another reason for me to stay away.
Why
I
are
just
we
bought
not
a car.
there?
Let's go.
We will go when it is happy hour time. Amy, talk to us about our members. What do you got for us?
We have 3 new members.
Yay!
Yeah, since the last time you heard us on the podcast, One Line Wellness is the place to check out for chiropractic care. Welcome to the chamber.
Crack your bones.
Oh, yeah. Those videos are wild.
I go
my
down
God.
such a rabbit hole on
I
those.
can't.
The neck ones really freak me out.
I can't. I cannot. Can't. Hope Rising Pelvic Health is another one for, to treat your pelvic pain, which is a real thing.
It was when my kids were little.
Woman-owned,
Oh, wait, that was my
queer-owned
ass. Sorry.
establishment. Welcome to the chamber.
Yeah.
And then another Small Town Big Pride member. Plum Creek Records and Tapes. And Lockhart, welcome to the chamber.
Love.
Records and tapes.
Records and Tapes.
Okay.
You asked, I think on the last pod, when's the last time I bought a record?
Yeah.
We are into our records. We actually have, so Best Little Wine and Books, another Small Town Big Pride member, they have a BYOV night. Bring your own vinyl.
Oh, that's slick.
That is
And
so cool.
Massimo will be there, and Alex will be spinning the vinyls that you bring into the shop. So, and you can buy them at Plum Creek Records.
Our neighbor,
Oh.
he's always playing vinyls, but he's a musician here in town, so I think he likes that sound and that purity of it.
I love it. I mean, I finally got some of my equipment hooked up in my new house, and man, I got a stack of vinyls that I've been listening through, like just plowing through them. And
So, like, I don't trust myself
Carole
with
King's
them.
at the top of the stack right now.
Oh, well, yeah.
Tapestry,
Yeah, definitely.
just melt. I'll just melt into my couch and be like, this is what living looks like.
Nick, I should bring my Hits 5 vinyl for you.
Heck yeah.
I think that was one of the first vinyls I got.
I will buy one every now and then, but I do not have a player.
Yeah.
I just like them.
Just
That
decorative.
They just sit there.
is fascinating.
You just hold them up
Do
to your ear.
you? Oh, where are they currently? Do you have them on display, or
The cats are using them.
Part time.
do you use them as like dinner plates, like
Yeah.
little charger plates? Do you know what a charger plate is?
Mm-hmm.
It's the plate that your plate sits on.
Yeah, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Debutante's coming out. Debutante. Debutante Amy. Yeah, so welcome One Line Wellness, Hope Rising Pelvic Health, and Plum Creek Records and Tapes to Chamber. We can't wait to hang out with you. Let's do rainbow ribbon cuttings.
They are the best.
Heck yeah.
Nobody else has rainbow ribbon and scissors in this town but us. You want a rainbow
And
ribbon, Kevin?
scissors. Use the scissors.
You got your scissors.
Do you remember the Aunt Chippy video that I showed y'all over the hall? This was not this last.
Is it Kimmel's aunt or something?
Yeah, and she was like, "Get the scissors." Very, very East Coast accent. Loved it so much.
Oh, my goodness. Well, on that note, thank you all for joining us. Be sure to follow our show on anywhere you get your podcast. If you want to know more about what's happening, visit AustinLGBTChamber.com. If you want to be a guest or a sponsor, email us at info@AustinLGBTChamber.com. As always, we thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.